Hey everyone, Kareem Rae here, and today I have DZ Harmon on with us. DZ, how's it going?
Everything is good, man. Can't complain. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining us today.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Can you please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Uh, well, my name is Dionysius Harmon. I'm from Liberia, and I play for the Charleston Battery.
Nice. And how long have you been with the club for?
Uh, this past season was my first season. I just got done with college and I joined the team. So yeah,
So you went to college. How long did you go to college for, and what would you study?
I went to college for 4 years, and I studied criminal justice.
Nice. And then
So
once you graduated after the 4 years, you went like you signed your first professional contract right away, or what happened?
so my last game was against Wake Forest in the NCAA tournament, and right after that game, my coach told me I had to go over to Charleston and go and train there that the following morning. And when I went there after the training session, the coach talked to me, and it just went on from there, basically.
Nice. So basically, right after college, you got an opportunity to play professionally in the USL.
Right.
And is that the USL Championship or USL One?
USL Championship.
Nice. Okay, so that's top. That's Division Two. So how did it feel for you, DZ? Like once you signed your first pro, like you just got out of college, you signed your first professional contract. How did it feel?
To be honest, it didn't really hit me at that time, Um, it was, I felt, I didn't really feel it in a way until after I scored my first professional goal against Loudon. Um, that was that game that I actually felt, and I actually felt the appreciation and everything. I think that was the moment for me.
Right. And you said the fans were there. How many fans were there supporting you guys during that game?
Uh, there wasn't a lot of fans. I mean, we had a few fans that traveled to watch the game because it was a away game.
Oh, away game. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but we won the game, so that was good.
Nice.
But yeah, it was a great. There was like it was a great moment for me,
Right.
and I actually felt that's when I actually felt it.
Mm. So DZ, can you take us back in time? How did you get introduced to football? Did your parents put you in the sport? Were you playing multiple sports? Take us back in time.
Um, Growing up in Liberia, all I knew was football or soccer, as they call it here. Everybody in my family played. Even the females played kickball. Over here it's called baseball. It's the same rules and everything. It's just kickball. So it was in the family. But as a kid, I never liked it. My dad told me when he would take me to the games and stuff, I would always cry and say I want to go home. So I guess I just grew into it because everybody around me played in my community played. So I just fell in love with it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's the beautiful game of the world, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, awesome. So when you signed your first professional contract, did you have an agent or how did you guys go about the process?
Um, well, when I first came to the US, I had my uncle who basically took care of me soccer wise. He took me to youth teams, to youth clubs and stuff like that to join. So he's been my mentor since. So after college, I just gave everything to him and he took care of it.
Nice. So, DZ, what position are you playing right now?
Well, I started as a midfielder, red mate, and then towards the end of the season, I started playing more as a second number 9/10. Um, but yeah, I'm actually a midfielder.
Okay, got it. And is there anything that you do, you know, specifically training wise that really helps you? Is there something different that you do that other players are not doing that you incorporate into your training?
Well, for me, I think it's more about mentality. Because I feel like a lot of people, a lot of people have talent, but if you don't have the mentality to want to succeed, it's very, very hard. You know, I think as a kid, when I came here going to school, I remember I would take the bus to school and then give my book bags and stuff to my little brother, and I would run home from school. So I won't take the bus home from school. I would just run home, and I would do that like every day, just to get my fitness up. Because when I came to America, I wasn't fit. You know, the game was a little bit faster for me. Even at the youth level, it was a little bit faster for me. So I had to catch up, and I always had that mentality. So I think it's just more about mentality.
Mm. So what advice would you share with the next generation of soccer players growing up right now? What advice would you share with them?
I would say trust the process. Don't be in a rush for anything. Don't get in the hop of I'm getting old, or there's an 18-year-old who's playing MLS or playing in Europe or anything like that. Everybody has their own journey. I think as a young kid growing up, you need to focus on your game. Obviously, there's a lot of resources out there. There's players you can look up to. Take what you can from everybody you can. Use the internet to the best of your ability, you know, we have it. So my advice to them would just be focus on yourself and learn as best as you can, be a sponge.
Great tips. So what did anything change once you signed your first professional contract?
A lot of stuff changed. Well, my mentality changed. First, it was tough mentally because the competition was very high in order to make the first team to start and just to be on the roster to play. And it was tough. You know, there was days where I would go to practice and maybe the practice won't go as well, and I will see myself going home, you know, go to my room, and I'll be in my room and just thinking about it. So that's what I said, like mentality is very crucial as a professional, because, or even as a amateur player who's trying to be a professional, you have to have strong mentality, you know, just trusting yourself, believe in yourself, and know that wherever you are, you're there for a reason.
Absolutely. Yeah, great points. So, you know, you went from playing in college to now playing in the USL Championship, which is Division II in the United States soccer pyramid. In regards of competition and level, what differences did you notice between college and the USL? Is it a big gap?
It's not much of a big gap, I would say. It's not much of a big gap. I think it's all about the quality of players, you know, because a USL team is a combination of the best player from most college teams, you know, where in college you have probably like maybe 2 or 3 good players and the competition is not high, you know. Maybe some colleges have maybe 5 good players, but in the USL, the competition is very, very high on your team. You have everybody on the team is good. That's why they're there. So the competition is, I think it's the competition that's different.
Mm. And, you know, once you made that shift between college to full-fledged pro in the USL, what things did you change in your game?
Well, I had to change my speed of play. Because in college, I'm a pretty strong, fast guy. I would take people on and stuff like that. But in the USL, it's not all about that. I had to learn that, you know, and it's all about 1-2 touches, reading the game a little bit more, you know, and just the little things, going back to the basics. and that's what I had to like try to rethink, to redo and stuff like that.
Got it. So, share 3 things that you like about the USL League.
Well, our conference, our conference and all the conferences I've watched, I think it's very, very, very competitive. There's a lot of good teams. So it's very hard to pick conference champion. And I think that's one thing that I like about the USL. Another thing, I don't know, to be honest.
That's fine.
I never thought of that.
That's fine. Yeah. What's the biggest crowd, DZ? What's the biggest crowd that you've played in? So, like, the biggest crowd that you've played.
In front of.
Yes. Thank you.
We do have a lot of fans at our stadium, but I don't know the actual amount. But we do have quite a bit of fans.
Yeah, around the thousands, around there.
But I will say, growing up in Liberia, I played in the George Weah tournament, and there was a lot of people. It was like, I think I was like 13, 14. And actually in that game, Timothy Weah came and played with us in the final. And there was a lot of people at that game.
So,
yeah.
You go into a game with 13, 14,000 fans in the stadium. How did it feel?
Well, at first, obviously the nerve's going to be there, because if there's no nerve, then it's not important, Mm-hmm. But once the game starts, everything goes away, everything goes away, and all you focus on is the next pass, the next move, and just trying to play the game.
Right. And mentally, this is a different scenario. It's not something consistently happening that you guys are playing in front of 13 to 14,000 fans. So how do you deal with it in the moment? Where, was your touch on point, or did it feel different? Right? Did you have the same confidence that you'd usually have, or was your confidence different?
To be honest, when you said that, I thought of a game we played against New Mexico. There was a lot of people, a lot of fans, and doing warm-ups and everything. We didn't have a lot of fans at that game because it was an away game, obviously, and I just took their energy, and it was amazing, because for me, the more the fans, like, the better it is for me, I feel like. So I kind of like feed off the energy.
Right. And, fans, especially when you're on a away game, they're talking shit. They're swearing at you guys.
I love it. I like it.
You like it? I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you thrive off of it? Like, is this something that you're like, yeah, we're going to destroy your team, or like, how do you use their energy?
The more they talk, the more I just feel the need to prove them wrong and to shut them up, Mm-hmm. And that's all that's going through my head.
Absolutely. So last 3, what sacrifices have you and your family made for soccer?
Well, I will say my parents, a lot of my teammates in high school, when I was here in high school, a lot of them were doing like school, and then they had to work. And my parents told me, you don't have to work, we'll do all the working, and you just focus on soccer and bring home good grades. And I think that's one thing I commend them for, because most of my friends who started working and playing, now they're working because they took that more seriously. So that's one thing I really commend my parents for.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. That's huge. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to see the turnaround of, what that did for you and what happened to other people, which is usually the trend that actually really happens all the time. So that's amazing that that happened for you.
Yeah.
How important is it for you to keep a healthy body and mind?
It's important. I try, everything I do is to make me better. I just about a little bit over a year ago, I changed my diet to a vegan diet because I felt like it was a little bit healthy in terms of recovery and stuff like that. So everything that I do, what I eat is to make me better. If it's not making me better, it's not going to make me better, I tend not to eat it or not to partake in it.
100%. And last one, what's your most memorable soccer moment in your life?
My most memorable soccer moment. Um, I will say, like the George Weah tournament I told you about earlier, back home when I was like 13, 14. It was the final, and it was like one of the best team in the nation. These kids could play, and they were up 1-0 in like extra time, and I scored a header last second, and we went to PKs. I think that's my favorite moment because my whole family was there, all my friends were there, and there was a lot of people at that game. So I think that would be my favorite moment. Plus, it was in front of George Weah as well, so
Yeah, that's huge.
you can't beat that.
13,000 plus fans, your whole family's there, plus the person that you mentioned, that's a huge moment. Was there anything else that you wanted to include or share?
I mean, for anybody watching, all I would say is just be yourself, try to embrace the process. A lot of times, most people tend to see the finished product and imitate that, but they're not seeing what is being done in the background. So when you look at players that you want to be like, that motivate you, try to research what they do, like how they live, and what get them to where they at, instead of just focusing on where they at. If that makes sense. And that's all I have to say.
Absolutely, great tips again. And there's a lot of history here. You come from your home country to the United States, went to college, and then straight out of college, which isn't usually something that always happens, but you're part of that 1%. You broke through. You signed pro right after your first year, which is amazing. And now you've already had your first year, and you're moving on to your second year. So congratulations to you. #Black Excellence. And
thank you very much.
Keep killing it, man. Keep killing it.
I appreciate it, man.
All right. Absolutely. So I have 5 fun questions now. It's kind of like speed questions. So I'm just going to ask you, and you just got to like answer them quick.
All right.
Awesome. All right. So who's your favorite team?
City.
City. Favorite player?
Ronaldinho.
Favorite cleats?
Tiempos.
Nice. Favorite food?
Fufu.
Fufu. I've been wanting to try. What about your favorite artist?
Like a musical artist? Lucky Dube.
Nice. Okay. All right, DZ. Before we go, can you just mention where your Instagram, where players can reach you at?
My Instagram is dzharmon80. That's it.
Yeah. All right, DZ. I just want to thank you for taking the time for joining us on One Soccer Nation's podcast today. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Likewise.